And this, much like number one, I discovered them around the same time. And way back when I was still helping my mom work at this shitty ass like beauty salon, I had both these two albums on repeat like every single time.
Not out loud in the salon.
No, I had headphones.
But wouldn't that be something?
Because all I did was vacuum. Just vacuum the whole time. God.
This makes really good vacuuming music, by the way.
Yeah, and I had to like blast it because it was like not noise canceling headphones.
Oh, sure.
So I can still hear the vacuum unless I had it like max volume, which I
Yeah.
did, which is not good, but whatever.
You know, you live and learn.
It was like 10 years ago. It's fine.
Hanging on the edge of tomorrow.
I can still hear. Yeah. Yeah, my number 2 favorite album of all time is the Sonic Adventure 2 soundtrack.
Yep. Yeah, Shadows. Honestly, this does have Shadows color scheme.
Yeah, it does. No shit.
That's pretty cool. So let's talk about Trivium, because I feel like we might have talked about them before. We talked about In Ways before, and our experience as youngins with Trivium. But how did you,
Josh showed me Down from the Sky. It's the first Trivium song I ever heard, and I really liked everything except like the, I don't know what you call it, the pre-chorus, where it's like that's the one he screams basically.
Yeah,
the screechy
I think people call not heavy vocals, but like heavies and cleans.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
You know what we're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that part, but I really like the verses. Those are pretty cool, especially with just the riding on the snare and like the little accents on the kicks.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just listened to Down from the Sky a bunch, and then I didn't like the screams, but they eventually grew on me, and at some point I just cleared the whole record, and pretty much every song, at least now, every song I hold at a very high regard, because even like the first time I heard it, there's a couple songs like The Calamity and He Who Spawned the Furies and of Prometheus and the Crucifix, which I just wasn't super into, but Lord knows that changed now. The title track is possibly my favorite song of all time. I don't really know. It's hard to make that decision.
It's very hard to make that decision.
But it's definitely top 3, no doubt about it.
Damn.
And the chorus in the title track, which is the last song, has the same melody as the very first intro, because the way the album starts with this like little acoustic thing, that's the exact same vocal melody at the end, and that's really cool. Just great songs. Into the Mouth of Hell We March, another fire ass song.
I found out that was featured in a Madden game.
It was.
Yeah. I think I can't remember any of these songs except for maybe Down from the Sky. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay. Because this is an album that I always passed up when listening to Trivium, which is a shame because we've talked about this before. I'm very much also a fan of, like, at least for a really long time, I was more of a fan of the clean vocals for a long time, and so my favorite album for a while was Silence in the Snow, because it's mostly
but clean.
There are some like not heavy vocals, but there's some raspy like Foo Fighters-esque like rock vocals that are featured on it. But yeah, I always felt like Shogun was an album that was the opposite end of that spectrum, and there are some Trivium albums that exist kind of in between. Like, I feel like In Waves is a pretty good in between album where it's got some really catchy, clean melodies and choruses, and it's got some really heavy vocals and breakdowns and shit like that. And I always just assumed Shogun was like all heavy shit. But
no, I mean, it's pretty much the same as a lot of them were.
Yeah.
It's like half and half at least. And like the fan base, most of the fan base like swear that this is their best record. because it is the most progressive. It's the most prog metal Trivium album there is. Which, if you remember my last album, Parallax 2,
Yeah.
that's the entire thing.
That's the whole
So,
thing is prog.
This is like the closest it gets to that territory.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't really know if it's necessarily the best at this point, but it'll always be my favorite.
Yeah. And I know we've mentioned this before, but the closer we get to our top everything has more to do with how these things impacted us when we listened to them or experienced them for the first time, and just the memories that we share with, you know, the times that we associate in our brains with experiencing these pieces of art. And so, yeah, man, I mean, Shogun was an album that you listened to. If you have specific memories that tie to a piece of media, obviously I feel like it's going to have more impact for you.
Yep.
And
October 2012, when I first discovered it.
but still, every time I hear a Trivium song, I think about you guys. And so even if I don't have the same fondness for Shogun, and I, you know, obviously I have to listen to it again and form a more informed opinion now that I'm a little bit older, and I actually like music like this a little bit more.
Older, wiser, and crustier.
So crusty. So every morning I wake up with crusties in my eyes. That bit wasn't supposed to get. I wasn't supposed to sing for as long as I did. I would love to give this album a try because I remember hearing one of my teachers actually in high school blasting the song Black from In Waves.
Damn.
Like out of the windows of his car as
That's
he was
cool.
driving away. And I was like, that shit's sick, dude. So as soon as I started driving, I would play Trivium like with my windows rolled down as I was rolling up to the school entrance. So yeah, it's just little shit like that always gets me hype and reminds me that, like, yeah, I still have memories of my own about albums and games and movies that are close to the top of your list too. The same thing as you with my list, because I know last episode we talked about my stuff and you were like, damn, I played, all right, you know, I know every one of these.
Indeed.
And I was hoping that I did listen to this at some point and just forgot, and then talking about it would trigger some memories. But
You know, it's like when you were talking about like you wish you were there in real time watching the Dragon Ball Z shit. I really wish I was there at the, like, you know, in real time when this fucking thing dropped.
2008.
Because the last album they put out was The Crusade, which people fucking hated because it was thrash metal.
Yeah.
And, like, man, I can only imagine people's faces. I imagine it was very similar to when Sin in the Sentence came out because it's the same shit that happened.
Yeah. After Silence in the Snow and
Like
then
Vengeance Falls.
Oh,
or
yeah.
no, Vengeance was before that. Yeah, so after Silence, like, very similar, where everyone hated it because it was no fucking heavy vocals.
It was a departure, and it was
Yeah.
it was a different sound.
And then you hear Kiersey Gomen, the fucking, I'll take their fucking heads. I can only imagine people's erections just flying up.
Yeah. And then into the court of the dragon, I really fucking like, because I remember when that shit came out.
Yeah.
That was sick. Yeah, dude. I like Trivium. Fuck you guys. I know what I'm talking about. Kind of. I know what I'm talking about a little
It also
bit.
sounds awesome.
Yeah.
The way this thing is produced is damn near perfect.
It was recorded actually in Nashville, Tennessee, if you can believe.
Yep.
Dude, so many albums that I love were recorded in Nashville, which is crazy because when you think Nashville, you think country music, but all
Yeah, I
of
know.
these albums that were recorded in Tennessee are all like metal and rock and punk.
They talk about it in the documentary, like the making of,
yeah.
and how one of the dudes made up a song, "My Dog, My Truck, My Woman," because he had like a really good country voice.
All staples.
That was Travis Smith, this was his last album. God rest his soul.
Did he die?
No.
Oh shit! I was gonna say, hopefully nothing that tragic.
No.
Yeah, the Sound Kitchen in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yep.
Released September 23rd, 2008. So, happy almost birthday to Shogun.
Indeed.